Hey everybody, welcome to our species spotlight on the rummy-nosed tetra, Hemigrammus robustimus. We'll be covering the species spotlight like we do our other ones. We're going to start off with wild habitats and origins, a little bit about the background of the fish, where it comes from. Then we'll get into the behavior, size, color, comportment, and so forth. Dip into the water conditions that you should be keeping the fish in and what ranges they're found in, as well as some information about feeding, and then a quick summary and why we like the fish as much as we do. So let's get into the wild habitats and origins of the rummy-nosed tetra. Basically, they are found in Venezuela and Brazil in the Rio Orinoco and lower Amazon river basins. They typically come from tannin, black water type rivers that are stained rich in a dark kind of tea color because of the tannins and so forth from decomposing organic material. And the water, of course, being as soft as it is, results in low pH values that these fish are often typically found in. We, in fact, found the rummy-nosed tetra in our expedition on Colombia, when we were in Colombia. The Cano Verde, which is a small river stream right off the Rio Orinoco, which has a very clear water, but of course the soft acidic very warm waters that one would expect to find there. But we did see some schooling rummy-nosed tetra in those waters, which was kind of surprising because the water current was fairly strong. So it was kind of a surprise to see how strong a swimmer the rummy-nosed tetra really is. Okay, so let's get into a little bit about the behavior, size, compatibility, and so forth concerning the rummy-nosed tetra. The rummy-nosed gets to be about 2 inches in length. Males are a little bit slimmer than females. Females, especially when you view them from the top, can appear a little bit bulkier. The coloration is kind of a translucent, transparent body with a very interesting caudal fin, black and white, horizontal striping, and of course the head having that glowing red color. It's a really stunning little tetra. These fish are basically very, very peaceful. They do better in schools, as a lot of small tetras do. We would really recommend a minimum group size of 8 to 10 be kept. And you want to maintain them in a tank length of at least 30 to 36 inches in length, something between 70 and 90 centimeters as a minimum. You really want to consider doing that because they like to swim back and forth. They are relatively active swimmers, so that is important. As we were mentioning, they're peaceful. They shouldn't be kept with boisterous, fast-moving, or aggressive species. An ideal mix would be any of the smaller apistogrammas, other small tetras, most of the corridors catfish family, if not all. Typical native tank mates for them really would be the best. And the ideal type of setup for these fish is really a biotope type setup. That would be the best, more on the dimly lit side, white sand, leaf litter, some smooth stones, driftwood, that kind of thing, with the right water conditions. Now, on the other hand, they do very, very well in clear water planted aquariums too, where you have the right water chemistry. They present very beautifully in that as well. But they really make an ideal biotope type setup fish. Now let's get into the water conditions that are favored by the rummy-nosed tetra. Temperature range should really be between 76 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit or 24 to 27 degrees Celsius. Although we prefer for aquarium keeping, maintaining them really at about 80 degrees Fahrenheit or 27 degrees C. A little bit on the warmer side for them. It's generally recommended. The pH range should be anywhere from 5.5 to 7. For typical aquarium keeping, really 6.5 is a little bit more reasonable, easy to do, and will have them in their peak coloration and condition. While it is possible to maintain them at 7 to 7.5, the fish will remain healthy. They're not going to appear as brightly colored as they normally would, versus if they were being kept at the right, within the right pH range. They also do better in somewhat softer water, although they do tolerate anywhere from 3 to 17, 18 degrees hardness. The ideal range is really more like 3 to 7 degrees of hardness. And when it comes to water current, as we mentioned before, a decent, moderate water current from a good-sized canister filter based on the minimum tank size recommendation for your canister filter is a good way to go when considering what kind of water movement they're going to do best in. Now let's talk about feeding the Rummy Nose Tetra. You'll notice that the mouth is located more in the middle of the head when it comes to the Rummy Nose Tetra. Therefore, the fish really prefer to feed mid-water strata more so than they do going to the top of the tank. Although they will do that, their really preference is to feed in the mid-water column. So very small sinking granules is a good idea. Flake foods, some of the freeze-dried foods, if you sink them down or if you push a cube against the glass midway down, that's a good way to feed these fish. Any of the frozen foods, smaller ones, black mosquito larvae, glass worms, brine shrimp, bloodworms, and so on and so forth, they're all readily eaten, bearing in mind that their mouths are small, so you may have to chop some of those up. And then when it comes to feeding them live foods as a treat once in a while, again, any small tetra is going to do great when they have, the occasional supplementation of live baby brine shrimps. Always a good idea. Rummy Nose benefit from that greatly too. And then for those of you that can get out and trap some or catch some live Daphne every once in a while or baby mosquito larvae, it's a fantastic conditioning food for these fish as well. So in summary, we're big fans of the Rummy Nose Tetra because of its really interesting coloration, that bright red head, and contrasting with the caudal fin at the other end of its body with a white and black alternating pattern in the caudal fin. It makes for a really interesting fish that pops out when it's swimming about, especially in a biotope type setup where you have tannin stained water with driftwood and stones and leaf litter cast about the bottom, in amber stained water with the right pH values and water hardness values. These things look absolutely stunning. And of course, we are big fans of their peaceful, easy to mix with other small peaceful species nature. They're a great fish. We hope that you all have a chance to try them out sometime. They really are an amazing fish to keep. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below. We value your opinions, love to hear from you, and don't forget to tune in till the next time on our next Species Spotlight.